Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're continuing our look at the Kingdom line, and we're starting off with the deluxe figures, and this is Blackarachnia. Now, I got Blackarachnia as well as the other Wave 1 Kingdom figures from the Commander store. The Commander store. This is a place that a lot of people have been using lately. They usually get their stuff in a little bit early. It is a collectible store, so the prices sometimes are a little bit higher, and they do have an eBay presence. So if you're interested, you can check them out there, or just do a search. It's cmdstore.com. They're out of Champlain, New York, so not a bad place. But we're starting off in spider mode. Right away, I can tell you from what I've heard from other people, this is a lot better than the Masterpiece figure. Number one, it can actually stand on the spider legs, although there are ball joints at each section here, so those will of course loosen up over time, so your mileage may vary on Blackarachnia being able to stand on its spider legs. The second, but I gotta say, it is a very nice spider mode. It's perfect for displaying on a shelf or putting in a closet on top of a roll of paper towels to scare your mother and sister. It's up to you. And what's also nice is there is integrated weapon storage. That's actually something that kind of has been lost in the last few years of Transformers. When we get into the transformation, I'll mention a little tip that a lot of other reviewers have pointed out, and I gotta tell you, it does make a difference. Other than that, there's not really much to spider mode. As I mentioned, these are on ball joints, whereas the whole sections are on these joints here, which are connected to the arms. I've found that on my figure it's a little tight, so you'll end up rotating the arm really before you move that joint. So let's pause and we'll get into the transformation. Okay, so transforming to robot mode is a little bit easier. Maybe what you want to do is first straighten out the spider legs as best you can. Give yourself enough room. The second thing you want to do is you can come in and lift up what will be the robot arms from here. And this actually is the point I was talking about. The instructions show pegging the arms together, bringing them down so that the inside of the claws fit into the heels here, and then pegging the gun on into the slots right there in the wrist, not in the forearm. I was trying to do the forearm, I screwed up, but it's the wrist. What a lot of reviewers recommend is, and what usually ends up happening is the force to peg it in, you end up unpegging the claws from each other, jostling the foot around. So what they recommend, and it's a brilliant idea, is peg the gun in first and then bring everything down. So that does work. So bring this up, separate them, and just leave them like that right now. There is some issues of clearance when it comes to certain aspects of the figure, so there is that. What you want to next do is start to maneuver this back section of the spider around, and you just want to get it up enough that you can swivel it out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rotate the legs down. There's a waist set hinge right here, but then they also rotate on the hip joint. So bring them down, unfold it all the way, and they do slot into the back of the leg. And I first time I did this, I actually had to give it a little extra push. So when you do that, just bring the feet down. So keep that out. Don't don't actually peg the waist in just yet. There is I'll show you why, but it does help if you leave that open. Swivel the arms out to the side, just like so. Ooh, that's it's being a little frisky right there. Ooh, just came off the joint there. That's the first time that happened, but oh, peg that back in. Actually, before you do that, what you might want to do is pull out this whole section. I almost forgot. It's on a swivel, and then rotate it around just like that. Oh, that's probably why it did what it did. And at the same time, what you can do now, and now this right here is a common spot for breakage. This is Blackarachnia's chest. Little slot there, small tab. It does snap into place, and a lot of people have had problems with it breaking. Um, I don't know why, but it happens. So just be aware of that. Take your time. Be careful. I've heard that there are some releases of Blackarachnia that the tab is smaller. I don't really know which one I have. I would say I would have the longer tab version because I got these fairly early. But if it does break, it's really not an issue. It does hold into place on its own. So bring that chest down and then snap the waist forward. And then when going back into spider mode, I would suggest opening up the waist to make it a little bit easier to swing that hinge section out. Rotate the head around. The instructions don't show you opening the waist, by the way, just so you know. And what you can do here is you want to rotate the forearms around that you don't see the mushroom peg, just like that. And then finally, the last thing you're going to do is collapse this, what was the abdomen on the back. It does fold up. There is a tab right there. It goes into a slot in the back. So, and there's like some other tabs there too. So it actually folds up quite nicely. And then finally, here you have Blackarachnia. And, you know, in terms of the spider legs, you can display them however you want. I guess it's to your comfort. Take the blaster. It does, the claws are molded in a C grip, so you can do that. So yeah, so give it some breathing room, and there you go. And I have to say, again, I wasn't a fan of the Beast Wars cartoon, but from what I've heard, better than the masterpiece and very close to the animation design. The transformation the first couple times can be a little fiddly, but once you do it like once or twice, it's not that bad, especially if you put the effort in and use the little tips that I pointed out. Also, I want to mention right off the bat, this is a small figure. Like Studio Series 86 Jazz is a small deluxe. This is smaller than that. But apparently it's to scale of how big Blackarachnia was. And one thing I like with the articulation that I'm just going to start off with is they were able to work in ankle pivot. But other than that, universal joints at the hips, swivel at the calf, deep knee bend. We saw the foot articulation. You did see pretty much the arm articulation, universal joint at the shoulder, swivel at the elbow, 90-degree bend at the elbow, and a very expressive neck ball joint thing going on. So you got do 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 do. So yeah, this is, you know, from what I remember of watching Beast Wars, and I really only watched the second season because it had the G1 Autobots in it. This is good. This is close to what that model was, and it is worth a mention that it's taken, what, 25 years to get a design that is very close, or even say accurate to that animation design. So kudos to Hasbro, and if you are a Beast Wars fan, you're going to like this. So let's pause, and I'll come back with my final thoughts. So I have to say that I think Blackarachnia is the greatest Transformer I've ever bought. And yes, I'm saying that because basically I was able to scare not only my sister, but my mother. But in truth, this is a really good figure. And I think if I was a Beast Wars fan, or more of a Beast Wars fan, I'd be enjoying it that much more. You know, with that said, in terms of issues, The clip in the chest, I know that's a major complaint. These ball joints will loosen up over time. I think I've heard that some people are getting them loose out of the box. There is no waist articulation, but that's really because of how the figure comes together. And the fact that you have such a clean backpack, you really can't complain. So definitely out of these Wave 1 figures, I think Blackarachnia is worth the pickup, especially if you're a fan. I mean, she was a major character in the show, so it's definitely worth picking the toy up. But other than that, that's it for the review. Uh, if you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. While I will always appreciate taking the time to watch the video, the liking, commenting, and subscribing communicates with YouTube through its algorithms that my channel should be held upon high and exalted. If you really want to consider supporting the channel and make that ultimate show of support, I do have a Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. There's a little card here in the corner and a link in the description below. All I ask is $1 a month or $12 a year. No thrills, no tiers, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you continue bringing figures like this to you, and also keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. The new light box was able to be purchased because I was able to subsidize part of the cost from what I was getting from Patreon. But as always, as I always say, this is not e-begging. I'm not going to go away if I don't get enough Patreon support. Watching my videos is always thanks enough. With that being said, this is your old pal Chuck for Blackarachnia. We will see you next time.